Right on. Well, I'm just about ready to start doing some final sanding on this thing. Gonna go all the way around this thing again with some 320, make sure it's all nice and smooth. There's this little rough spot down here that I'm going to take care of. And once that's done, I'm going to get a rag with some water and wet this thing down and see what everything looks like to make sure that it's going to be okay to be a clear coat or if it has to be painted over. So that's the thing that's going on right now. So I'll be back. So as I was just finishing up the sanding on the edges, I had gone all the way around, made everything nice and really smooth. There was this little spot right here from when I did the repair bind, or the binding repair, where there's just this little divot still. So I'm going to mix up a little bit more of that JB Weld wood filler and fill this in really good and let that sit. While that's sitting, I can probably sand the front and the back and then go over here and retouch this up again. So let's see if I get this thing to work right. There we go. That's kind of where we're at right now. Everything's nice and smooth on the sides. The binding still came out really well, which I'm kind of shocked. Alright, so I'll get back to the sanding part and I'll be back in a little bit. Alright, well I got the wood filler on there. It's filling, or drying. Drying, I guess it's filling. It's drying as it's filling, or whatever. But anyway, I'm going to give that a few minutes and then I'll sand that up. But I still have to do the front and the back, so yeah, I'll be back in a little bit. So right there, if you can see it, as I was final sanding the front end, I found another little divot. So more wood filler. Kind of glad I found that. So I'll fill that in, let that dry up as well as down there, and be doing more sanding. I'll be back. Yeah, so one thing I did wrong when I was, one of the many things I did wrong when I was painting the guitar the first time, is when I was getting ready to do the neck, I kind of processed it like it was a separate guitar almost. So the paint didn't come out matching and everything like that on the headstock. So yeah, I just got done going back over this and giving it a nice sanding with the 320. Everything's nice and smooth. I tried to almost eliminate the what do you want to call it here? The joint or whatever you want to call it. It's just really nice and smooth, going from any direction you grab it. It's going to be, I think, but I don't play guitar. I think it's going to be really comfortable. So that's pretty much it. I think I'm done with the neck. I'm still waiting on the filler to dry. Let's go over here and take a look what's going on. So I don't know, I can't even really see it. There it is. There's the little filler on the front, and right there, there's that little piece that I had filled in on the tail piece there. That looks like it's still kind of damp, and this one looks like it's ready to sand. But I'm going to give them a little bit more time, and no need to rush it, right? Because then I'll have to do it all over again. All right, I'll let this thing do what it's got to do, and I'll go do something that I got to do. I'll be back. There's nothing more fun than standing around waiting for a wood filler to dry. But while I'm doing that, let me go grab one of my old former ideas, and let me show you what I have planned in the future, kind of, maybe. Let me unbury it here. It's under a whole bunch of crap. I could have probably done this before I turned the camera on. Alright, here we are. So here it is. This was an old project. This was actually my very first when I was trying to discover if I could actually paint guitars or not. I pretty much figured out that I couldn't. But this one came out kind of what I'm going to be doing to Rob's guitar. But the main reason I brought this thing out was the actual body shape. Oh, let's go this way. See how it's kind of got this offset kind of waist to it, and kind of some SG-like horns, but kind of rounded over. When you flip this thing over, it's got a lot of dirt on it, but it's got like a cutout here, and everything else is pretty much square-edged. But by the time I got done screwing with this and having to sand it down and repaint it, sand it down and repaint it, you see it was pretty damn thick, thin, actually too thin for the electronics. So what I was going to do eventually is use this as a template for a body design. I'm going to route out this whole section here, and to where I can actually put like pickup templates in here and put them in certain places. Same thing with the control layout. Probably going to widen this out and maybe bring it closer over to here so we can put 4 controllers in here and maybe a switch, and at least 2 pickups, and the bridges can be just added as needed. One thing I really like about this old, and this is a Tesco, by the way, it's an old 1960s Tesco that I Frankensteined. Here was the headstocks. It's kind of like a fender in a way. What I really like about this was these, the fret markers, how they're off on the side here. And so I think what I'm going to do is eventually, someday, once I get me another piece of tooling, I'm going to try to make this guitar, and either an electric or in a bass, either way, and just see how it comes out, you know, with my own stuff, instead of buying kits. You know, it's like all this extra wood filling I've had to do is because the wood is not quite perfect. It's not the greatest stuff in the world, but if I went out and got better quality wood right off the bat, then, you know, then I would have a lot better stuff to work with. The only thing I really don't know how to do is build necks, and so I would probably lean towards like a Warmoth neck or something like that to put on this thing. So that's just an idea. I don't know. Maybe tell me what you think about that. So otherwise, I'm gonna just hang out and wait for this stuff to dry. So thanks for listening to me ramble on. Alright, on. Whoops, let me get out of here a little bit. There you go. Well, I just got done finishing the front sanding again. The filler, unless you look really hard, you can't really tell where it was. Came out pretty good. So the front is definitely ready for primer. Let's take a look at what's going on the side. Let's go over here and toss it in the clamp so I don't drop it on the floor. Alright, so I went through here and sanded this all nice and smooth. There's no more missing pieces of anything. So that came out pretty good. The only thing I'm going to have to be sure of, and that's what I'm just about ready to test out now, is actually wetting the surface of the wood down. That'll make it, that'll give us a good look of what it's going to look like with a clear coat on it. That was the original plan, right? Was to go with the cherry bomb on the front and natural wood tone here, down the back and the neck with a matching headstock to match the body, or either the headstock was going to be like a piano black. I hadn't really decided because I hadn't gotten to there yet. But I got to make sure, you know, first off, that my little repair job here doesn't look really ugly when clear coat hits it. So if it does look really ugly, then I'll have to get a hold of Rob and we'll have to come up with a secondary idea for the back side of this thing. It'll either be just like the front, or maybe maybe black or something like that. We'll figure it out. So let me get my stuff ready for this, and we'll see what it looks like. So to wet the surface down, what I'm going to be using is just one of these blue towels that you've seen everywhere, and then some of this Duplicolor Prep. It says multi-surface foaming prep cleaner. I'm not going to spray this stuff right on the guitar body, but onto here and then wipe it onto the guitar. So let's see. We'll see what happens. I've never even used this stuff before. I used something similar on the T-Bird paint job, but it wasn't a foamy cleaner like this. I don't know if that's too much or not enough. But here we go. Let me back this up. Well, back it up. That'd be this way. Alright, well, here goes nothing. Yeah, so yeah, you can see right there. It doesn't look like it's going to cover up very good with a clear coat on its own. That's kind of a bummer, but I didn't really expect it to. So you can see the rest of it looks really freaking nice. Lots of cool striping and stuff. But yeah, that definitely stands out. It's not taking in like the it's not taking in the cleaner, surface cleaner, you know what I mean? Not like the wood does. So that means it can't even be stained because the stain won't go into there either. What a bummer. So it looks like it's going to be some paint. So I'll back this off, and I'm going to go get a hold of Rob and see what he wants to do. Thanks for checking this out. Alright, so after some consultation with the musician, we decided to go with a black back, black neck, cherry top. So I think it's going to look out pretty freaking cool. And so I'm just getting ready to tape the neck up, make sure that I don't get any paint on the fretboard, and get this thing ready for some primer. So I'll be back. Alright, well, the neck is all taped up, and everything's good to go. Got the fretboard all taped off. Should be good all the way around. This whole thing is going to be spray, well, primered black at first, and then black all the way down the back of the neck, around the corners, and the cherry on the top. Cherry on the top. Isn't that funny? Let's come up with that. And then I'll tape off the binding pockets and the control cavities on the back. And that should be pretty much it I need to do up here, because I'm going to be doing some of this stuff here. If I can get it to zoom in. That is some copper-based shielding paint, and I'll be using that for the shielding instead of using the copper tape. And so that's pretty much it. So I'll get all this stuff taped off, and I'll be back. All right, well, it's taped up, mounted on the rig, and it's gonna be all good for painting. So what I'm gonna do with this thing first off is just shoot it all with primer, and then go from there. Got to do the same thing with the neck. The neck's already taped off, and it's in a safe location. So that's about all I got right now, because I don't actually have any primer. So I'll be back tomorrow, and I'll shoot the primer on and go from there. Thanks again for checking this out. I'm out of here. All right, well, it's taped up, mounted on the rig, and it's gonna be all good for painting. So what I'm gonna do with this thing first off is just shoot it all with primer, and then go from there. Got to do the same thing with the neck. The neck's already taped off, and it's in a safe location. So that's about all I got right now, because I don't actually have any primer. So I'll be back tomorrow, and I'll shoot the primer on and go from there. Thanks again for checking this out. I'm out of here.